Hi, I'm Ron, and this is my damn show. Let's get into it.
Donald Trump over the past 2 months has not only posted an AI video of Obama being arrested, but then after that, he posted an AI image of Chicago being invaded. After that, he sent the National Guard to Chicago. So I've spent my formative years watching the president do this. And just think about this. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat.
Well, we can talk about it.
Do you condemn it?
I want to talk about it.
Wait, so when they said gas chambers,
disavow.
When they say gas chambers, you won't. So you're like JD Vance. You just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank
Adam
you.
Mockler is part of the vanguard of podcasts on the left. He works with Midas Touch. He has his own standalone, millions and millions of followers. He is one of the most listened to people on the left. Next to him is Andrew Kolvet. He is part of Turning Point USA. He was the executive producer for Charlie Kirk, a very close friend of Charlie Kirk's, and he is carrying forward their sense of purpose on the podcast and with the organization. And I thank you both for being with us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Andrew, let me start with you. We have met relatively recently. I was with Charlie on Patrick Bet-David's podcast for hours. We talked, we texted. It was fruitful, disagreed a lot. How we disagreed mattered. What have you learned, positive and negative, in the aftermath of his assassination?
Yeah, and by the way, Chris, he said really nice things about you in private, and that's why when we had a chance to get together, after all of this happened, I was more than happy to connect, and I'm glad we did. What I've learned is that there is a really, really vile undercurrent of political violence. And, we talked about this briefly, but it's actually emanating from the political left. There was a YouGov economist poll that came out, I believe, it was between September 12th and the 15th. So the poll started 2 days after the assassination of Charlie. And what they found was about 30% of self-described liberals between the ages of 18 and 39 believed that political violence was justifiable to advance political ends. 30%. Meanwhile, conservatives of that same age group were among the most peaceful. So you see this diversion that's happening. Conservatives are getting more peaceful. Young conservatives were more likely to answer no, political violence is not acceptable, than their older counterparts.
Well, Andrew pointed out an undercurrent of political violence, but there is a deeper undercurrent here of political radicalization of young people, primarily young men. So the same time that Charlie Kirk was tragically shot, another young white dude shot up Evergreen High School in Colorado, and this dude was a far-right neo-Nazi who had anti-Semitic messages online. I think that there's an undercurrent of radicalization that's stemming from a few things. As a 23-year-old, I lived through COVID during my most formative years, and I was able to rebound and have a social life, but a lot of young people didn't really get to rebound. Imagine having this bubble up around you during COVID, and you never really get to pull that bubble down, so you get sucked deeper and deeper down these algorithms online. Those algorithms are then, incentivized to push the most outrage, whether it's foreign bots like Russia and Iran trying to get people outraged, or domestic actors. I think Elon Musk's Twitter feed, for example, is disgusting and could radicalize a lot of young people. I disagree with the idea that violence disproportionately comes from young progressives. It is uniquely up this year, but if you look at any polls, according to CSIS, political violence overwhelmingly comes from the right. These mass shootings come from the right. And when it comes to the leaked text messages that came out 24 hours ago, I don't think it's fair to say there's an undercurrent just on the left. I know what you mean, but there's also an undercurrent on the right. There is something deep and dark boiling inside the GOP, and it's like the Nick Fuentes faction of the GOP. You can't deny that this is boiling when we got these leaked texts 24 hours ago. I do not like when people are characterizing these as kids in college. These were grown adults. Some of them were 32 years old. One of them was a state senator from Vermont. Today, we saw an Ohio aide with a swastika in the back. I would never claim that this is representative of an entire party, but I do think there's an undercurrent of radicalization on both sides.
Well, can I?
Go ahead, Andrew, please. Put a point on it, and then we'll go to the audience.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to find agreement. Charlie, if you ever watch his debates really closely, he was a master at making that human connection with people. He would say, so we agree. Even if they were worlds apart, he would try and find a place where he would agree with the student or the professor often that would come debate him. So I agree with you that COVID had a profound effect on Gen Z. I did not live through that, and my heart goes out to Gen Z students that lost their proms and their graduations from that and lost their social lives. However, the study you just cited didn't include things like, you know, the Tesla attacks that were against Elon Musk and Tesla.
The study shows lethal deaths, lethal violence. Lethal violence comes disproportionately from the right. The Tesla attacks were not lethal. We can point to the Buffalo shooting, the El Paso supermarket.
I let you talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Wow. All right. So there's a whole bunch.
You tried to debunk my study, so.
Is it your study? Did you do it?
I did not do it, but keep
What is your point, sir?
My point is that time and time again, whether it's the Erin Burnett on CNN, God bless her, she tried to quote the same study. They didn't include a lot of what we would consider left-wing violence in that study, okay? First of all. Second of all, my dear friend was just killed by left-wing violence, assassinated in cold blood. There has been how many ICE facilities that have been targeted? And when you look at what's happening right now, I agree with you on the radicalization, but you have to be honest about the fact that you even admitted, well, this year it's progressives. Well, what about George Floyd? What about that whole summer of looting and rioting? Listen, there has been a trend of, I think, let's just say, let's be gracious and say, in the era of Trump, maybe it's a reaction to Trump. I'm open to those discussions, but there is a justification for political violence. It shows up in every poll, and it's coming from progressives.
I have spent all of my formative years watching the President of the United States talk about the opposition party like they shouldn't exist. His claim to fame in U.S. politics was saying that Obama wasn't born in America. That is how he entered the political stage. He was famous before that, but that was his claim to fame. He was the first presidential candidate to ever chant "lock her up" on a political stage. He tried to coup our government. And I live in this, let me finish. Listen. I live in the city of Chicago. Donald Trump over the past 2 months has not only posted an AI video of Obama being arrested, but then after that, he posted an AI image of Chicago being invaded. After that, he sent the National Guard to Chicago. So I've spent my formative years watching the president do this. And just think about this. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat.
Well, we can talk about it.
Do you condemn it?
I want to talk about it.
Wait, so when they said gas chambers, when they say gas chambers, you won't, so you're like JD Vance, you just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank you.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
But
Chris, can you condemn that?
Here's the point, of course, but that's easy. What I'm
for him, but you know what? This is not constructive, right?
Because what the constructive part is not. This is what's happening here, and I know both of you guys, and I want to bring Joe in on this, and I want to get to the audience. But let's just be clear about where the path is forward.
I'm Luke. I'm originally.
Okay, I'll be short on this one. First of all, the brown guy. Yeah, he's a brown guy. I don't care what his name is. Kolvet. He'll try to tell you he's not brown. He'll do everything in his power to convince you and himself that he's white. We all can see he's brown. Somehow, this is what happens. People like this vote and advocate against their own best interests all the time. They'll try to convince themselves that they're white. There's nothing wrong with being white. But there's also nothing wrong with being brown or black. So, but they've been brainwashed to think that they got to be white to fit in. So they'll twist themselves in knots, going against their own best interests. It's embarrassing. He won't condemn. This brown man will not condemn the obvious racism that's in his party. And they'll continue to try to convince you and trick you with tricks like the Democrat Party is actually the party of racists. There's no racist group, I say it once again, no racist group in the last 20 or 30 years has voted for any Democrats. These parties are totally different from when Southern conservatives were Dixiecrats. Those are the 50s, 60s, 40s, and before. These are total opposite parties. Those Southern conservatives now, we all know how they vote. They vote Republican, overwhelmingly. Every hate group votes Republican. Nazis, neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan. None of those people are supporting Democrats. You know this. Do not let them fool you. It's amazing how people hate themselves. It's just, it's incredible. The brown and black people that support the Republican Party these days. I mean, I was watching one video where the white woman was trying to tell the black guy, you know, you're voting with the party that's voting, the party that's voting with the Nazis. The party that the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan vote with. Just trying to tell her son. Also, the white guy wasn't her son, but they were hanging together. You know, you're voting against your own best interest. It should ring in your head. Why am I voting with the Ku Klux Klan? We can't be sharing anything in common here. I mean, I guess you think somewhere in your head you're sharing some kind of policies with them. But I'm getting off on a tangent. Adam Mockler destroyed this guy. The guy couldn't condemn it. The guys went straight to the right-wing talking points. And it's the talking point. The FBI, under no good Trump, his own pick, Christopher Wray, who he disowned after it because, of course, you can't, actually follow the law and Trump still supports you. So he had to leave when Trump came back in office. But Wray admitted that on national TV. Overwhelmingly, it's white supremacy. Who's the problem? Right-wing violence, 75%. Same day Kirk was killed, like Mockler said. A far-right hate monger killed some kids in the school. Same day. Come on. It was on the government website that they took down after Democrats would point everybody towards it. That 75% to 80% of all hate crimes, political crimes, are done by Republicans, people on the right. Do not fall for that talking point. Republicans, that's what they do. They repeat lies and spin stuff 1 million times. They keep doing it over and over till half the public believes it. Don't fall for it. All right, that's all I got. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching.